What's up guys, it's your boy Philip's POV and we're back with another BMW tutorial. And in today's video we're not actually going to be working on my personal car, we're going to be working on my brother's 328 BMW. This is a 2011 328, it has the N51 engine, and today we're going to be replacing the valve cover gasket, which is right under here. Alright, so for the first steps of what we're gonna do is we're gonna have to remove all of the plastic coverings, including this metal covering right here over the engine. That way we can get access to the valve cover itself. And we're gonna be also removing the engine cover, and then I'll show you guys a little bit more once I get that done. Now that you have all of this top section removed, the next thing we're going to remove is this crossbar right here. We just want to remove this so we can actually get to the bolt here and be able to take this out and have more work room for it. And then after that, we're going to remove the screws that are holding in the engine cover, and then we'll go from there. So now that we have all this stuff removed, what we're gonna do next is we're gonna remove this plastic PCV valve hose right here, and we're gonna remove this vacuum hose right here. And then once we're done doing that, we're gonna remove all the ignition coils. After we remove them, we're also gonna remove this wire harness that goes along to this side, and then we're gonna remove this whole assembly here, move all that wire harness out of the way. And once we're done removing all that, we're gonna remove the Valvetronic motor right here, and then we're gonna be ready to get the valve cover gasket out. So what we did is we removed all the coils. Basically, there's just a little clip that you open up and then you pull the coil out. You just want to set those off to the side. And then there's two ground terminals, one here and then one back here. You want to remove those as well. And then this whole harness assembly right here has these little clips where you just pull them back and they'll remove off of this. There's, I think, 3 of them here. And then there's 2 more clips that hold the center of this wire harness right here in the back. And then on this side, the same thing. There was 2 clips. If you guys see them, they're down here. They hold on to each of the connectors over here. Once you remove that, now we're gonna come over here. We also removed the fuse box cover because we need to remove the wire harnesses, or kind of move them up out of the way. That way we have more space to work with. And for the next thing that we're gonna do is we're gonna remove the Valvetronic motor right here. Usually you would remove it. I think there's 4 screws that are holding it in, but what we're gonna do is actually just back it up a little bit by using a 4mm Allen key right here, and then you remove 3 screws and we'll be able to get this motor out of the way. All right, so for this part right now, there's a E-torque screw right here. It is a E8 screw, and basically we had this one right here. This is a E8 screw, but because this diameter of the input for the wrench is too thick, we're not able to get it in there. So we had to go to O'Reilly to buy a thinner one. And then what you want to do is put just the tip on there right there, and then you're going to hammer it in. But make sure you have an extension so it doesn't fall down. You just want to hammer it in so you make sure it's fully seated, and then you're just going to unscrew it from right there, and then I'll get back to you guys as soon as we're done with that. Oh shit. Right now we're taking out the other two E8 E-torque screws. They're on the inside right there and there. He just got those removed. Right there. They go right there and there. Just pull out the Valvetronic motor. It'll just come right out just like it did. All right, so after removing everything that you've seen so far, we had to also remove this breather valve. This one goes right down over there. Basically, it just has two nuts that are holding on to those two bolts that you see over there coming up from the engine bay. And those look like, let me show you guys. It's just like those two guys right there. And then this is what comes out. You just want to take this out because we're going to need room to continue on to the next part. So now we're going to start removing the valve cover itself. There's a bunch of bolts that go around the side of the valve cover. There's, I think, 6 along this end here. There's 4 right here. Another 5 down that way. And then there's also these ones that are right there. There's 1, 2, and I believe there's a third one right back there if you guys see that. So I'm gonna put a time lapse of us removing this, and yeah, you guys will get to see that. All right, so right now, if you guys see where all the spark plugs go into right here, you have to remove these metal brackets that hold it in place. You basically use some pliers, some needle nose ones, hold it in together just like he's doing right now, and you just want to pull it out. I'll put the camera right here so you guys can see us do a few here. All right, so we actually ended up removing the negative terminal right down there so we could remove this whole plastic piece holding the wire harnesses up there so we have more room to work, because it's very difficult getting this thing in and out. And we also put this, we kind of held it onto here where the coolant goes, and now we're gonna actually work on getting this on the car once again. So for this right here, this is the torque wrench. On top of the valve cover itself, it says 8.6 plus or minus 0.6 Newton meters. And when you convert that to inch pounds, that is gonna be just about 80. I think it's 79.86. We're gonna be tightening it to 9 Newton meters, which is a little bit over. It's the plus or minus range, a little bit of tolerance just to make it a little extra tight. So we're gonna do 80 inch pounds on this. We got it selected right there. And now we're just gonna go around tightening all of them until we get them to 80 inch pounds. All right, so we got the valve cover back on. Everything seems to be seated properly. We got it all torqued to the correct torque spec. Now what we're gonna do is, you guys are just gonna see a time lapse. We're basically going to put everything back on in the same order we took it off. So we got the valve cover on. Next, we're gonna do the motor that goes right here. And then from then on, we're just gonna start putting everything back together, back on. You guys will see the time lapse. If you guys do have any questions about anything going on, I'm not going to be doing a in-depth kind of item to item putting them back on, because I already did that when I was taking things off. So you guys are just gonna see a time lapse of the car getting put back together. You guys can pause at certain moments to see what we're putting back on, but you guys should be able to figure it out, because if you took everything off the way we did, same way you would be able to put everything back on. So I forgot to mention this before we start putting everything back on. What you want to do is take off the old Valvetronic motor gasket, which is the one that goes on the end over here, goes right over there. And then you're just gonna replace it with the new one that yours came with. You guys may have purchased a kit which doesn't come with this, but our kit did. So if you do have this, make sure to get this replaced. Guys, so we managed to switch the valve cover gasket, the main one, and then there was the 3 ones that go inside the actual valve cover itself. And then we got everything put back together. That's basically the whole job. We did start the car. We did this off camera just because during the take we accidentally ripped one of the coolant hoses, so we're not going to start the car right now. But the valve cover, everything seems to be fine, but after you drive it for a little bit, you're going to want to look around, make sure that no oil is leaking from there, and just make sure everything's okay. So the coolant hose that actually ripped while we were working is the one that goes from the expansion tank right here, and then it goes to right here and continues on to the upper radiator hose. This one right here, as you can see, it's very corroded and old, and it's really fragile. So as soon as we were trying to work on this, it just kind of snapped on one end, and we were gonna try to actually connect it a little bit further. Since this has a little bit of movement, we could have connected it a little further after cutting it off and swapping the little piece, but due to some circumstances, it actually ripped and it's corroded on this side as well. So now we have to buy either a whole new hose or at least this little middle section. I'm not sure they sell just this, but if you're able to find just this section from almost any E90, they're pretty similar, so you should be able to get it fitting on there. But you're gonna want to swap this at some point because it will break. These are pretty fragile. And yeah, that has been the video. It has been your boy Philip's POV, and my brother was also joining me helping with this video. He actually did do quite a bit of the work. He knows more of the technical things for in the engine specifically. But yeah, thank you guys so much for watching. It has been your boy Philip's POV, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Goodbye.